to the outside away from the defender. Does a nice job of mortaring the ball in there, very accurate on the deep ball. So he's made all the throws so far that you need to make to be an outstanding quarterback.
But
now here's his ability to scramble. Now, one hand on the ball in the pocket is not something that I like particularly because it does lead to turnovers, which has been an issue at times. But his instinctive ability to scramble, keep his eyes downfield, and make yet another explosive play by finding an open receiver. And then this play is just point guard-like. He's going to scramble. Again, I don't like the one hand on the ball running around. But he's going to do a 360 here, still know where his receivers are, make an accurate throw down the field, and convert on third down. I mean, those kind of instinctive plays are not something that you find in a lot of quarterbacks.
He's top 4 in the country in yards per attempt, better than 10 yards per attempt. But we showed some highlights from the Duke game. He had 5 turnovers in that game. Very fortunate he didn't have 7 or 8. Yet he continued to make plays. What does that tell you?
Well, first of all, you can improve some of the turnover issues with good fundamental techniques. But it shows me what kind of competitive character the guy has to have the resiliency to be able to overcome bad plays, which I think is really important for quarterbacks because you're going to always have some. So that's why his team has been successful with him playing quarterback.
This is how it looks in the ACC. The most likely outcome is that SMU and Miami play in the championship game because Clemson would come up short in a 3-way tie. SMU still unbeaten in conference play. You see that SMU doesn't play Clemson. Pittsburgh, oddly enough, still has a chance if they can create a tie at 6-2, which means that they need SMU to lose a couple of times. But SMU has made this transition into a power conference look easy.
I feel like this is our weekly reminder, again, that they are in the ACC and that they're doing a heck of a job. Brett Lashley, who Coach is very familiar with, when he came up through the SEC with Gus Malzahn, had Nick Marshall, a quarterback that could do a lot of great things. He is an outstanding coach. 3rd year in the ACC. Came into this year, really, Preston Stone was his guy. That was his quarterback. Within the year, makes the switch. Jennings, who you just did a great job there in the film room on, showing his big play ability. But when he plays within the structure of the offense and then can stay confident in that and then not always rely on the athletic ability, he's going to get better every single week. This team's for real.
Yeah, if he minimizes the turnovers, which when they've struggled, that's been the issue.
Yep.
But the thing that I like about SMU is they play really good defense. They're one of the top defensive teams in the country in terms of takeaways, rush defense, lots of categories. And that's the biggest difference in Miami is their inability to stop people because of their defense. So,
Yeah. No, when you were saying that about the defense, I'm thinking about the Canes, and they're just awful on defense. They kind of caught up with them last week down the road in Atlanta against Georgia Tech, and now I think they still have everything in front of them. That may have been the best thing that could happen to that team moving forward. Losing that game against Georgia Tech, I think it's going to wake up their defense now to how they're going to have to play different, play better. I think Miami's going to be okay.
Their game at Syracuse is scary, by the way.
Last one of the
careful
season.
there.
They're on a bye week right now, so they have the opportunity to maybe get right on the defensive side. To your point, and to your point, Miami gave up 270 yards rushing, I think, to Georgia Tech or whatever it is. You're not going to be able to do that, and obviously they've been very close in like 4 or 5 of their games, but Cam Ward is the difference maker.
Right.
He's obviously the best player on the field whenever he's on the field. 35 total touchdowns this season. He's been on fire. Clemson, obviously, they've been able to. Now the Louisville loss sets them back a little bit, but since the Georgia opener, when everybody thought they were done, they get in there. They're the odd team out if everybody wins out because of winning percentage against Louisville and Florida State. SMU and Miami are undefeated against Clemson, 1-1 there. So obviously a lot can still happen, but it feels like this is SMU and Miami's conference, even though a lot can still happen in the final couple of weeks.
You'll see what happens there. You got a couple of ACC teams on the board. Louisville has come close to being in this mix just on the outside.
Louisville's playing as well as anybody in the country, and I hate to do this, but Stanford, there's not a worse team against ranked teams against the spread the last 5 years than Stanford. So we're going to take Louisville there.
Okay.
And go against Stanford.
Hey,
and then we touched on.
Hold on. Are you turning on your own people because you won 1-2 last week? Is that what you're doing? You're turning on your own people because you won 1-2 last week?
I looked at the numbers. Worst team against the spread against ranked teams last 5 years.
Go get them, bro.
When in doubt.
Go get them.
There's no home field advantage. There's nothing.
Okay.
So,
All right. 21-12 still on the year.
We touched on Notre Dame earlier. Virginia's been really good, 3-0 on the road as an underdog. They've covered 3 straight. Senior day at Notre Dame. We're going to say Virginia hangs around.
Okay.
That's a lot of points.
Capman, Jeff Brown.
All Might be a
What's the hoodie?
Well, I was trying to show support to the guys on the desk. Some guys have alma maters that are having good years, and some are having alma maters that don't have good years. And the only team that's worse than my alma mater is Coach Saban's alma mater. So,
Congrats, Coach.
that stinks.
Bad.
Congrats, Coach. Go Golden Flashes.
Still support watching Maction during the week.
Miami beat them.
Still,
Miami
still a
beat
good
them this
hoodie, if
week,
nothing
right?
else.
Yeah.
Yeah. That bald head, blue eyes.
Steve making a couple of picks, one more to go on the board. Arkansas and Texas coming up at noon. This is an old SWC rivalry in the day. We'll flash back to some. Oh, look what the White Reverend did to him. Dropped the horns down. And Dylan Samson, this guy's gotten the end zone 20 times for the Big Orange. He has been the guy who's carried them up.
It's okay to help people out. You know, it's okay to see people at their best. It's okay to bring people up. Because I believe if you bring people up at their best, it only makes you your best.
Subway launched new $6.99 meal deals with any 6-inch sub.
Wait, Subway did what?
Dad?
Yep. For a limited time, get any 6-inch sub, chip, and a drink, all for just $6.99.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, you know, to check your school's saying first before saying it.
High tide. High tide, guys. High tide. High tide. High tide. High tide.
It's roll tide.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Let's unretire. Why not?
Delay game.
I'm good right here.
What is sport? It's more than training at dawn and drills after dark. It goes beyond the gym, through city streets, and on to the stage. Sport inspires, it entertains, and challenges. So ask yourself, is this sport? Yeah, even that. Sport is everywhere, for everyone. Sport is everything. Today, let's paint with Bear.
Wait, we don't have Bear.
Well, what do you have?
It just says ain't.
I thought you said you researched this.
Aren't all paints the same?
No, they're not. Get the most trusted paint brand in America at an everyday low price, only at the Home Depot.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment.
Dave's back on.
Coors Light. Choose chill.
Hardee's candied bacon, glistening with caramelized brown sugar, adds a festive twist. Made from scratch breakfast biscuits, Frisco sandwiches, or anytime. Unwrap the holiday goodness of Hardee's. Try our new app exclusive candied bacon Frisco chicken.
No peeking.
Okay.
Open.
Over 600,000 USPS employees working in sync to ensure everything sent on its holiday ride ends with a moment of joy. The United States Postal Service.
Giving. Giving that's possible through the power of Dell AI with Intel. So those who receive can find the joy of giving back.
My wallet lets me see my personalized car payment so I know what I'll pay before I buy. Case closed.
You left late, and we had to walk a mile to the stadium. What have you prepared for us, Chef?
Eckrich smoked sausage, Chef.
Well done, Chef.
Yes!
For smoked sausage you heat up and eat up, just add Eckrich.
I got some good friends that live down the street. Got a good
beautiful November morning, a hint of chill, leaves starting to turn, and just the aroma of desperation in the dogs. Oh, and he's certainly still have a little fight here. Oh, that's what happens. You back him into a corner. That's right. Come out when it's ready. Come out. See if the big dog is ready to eat. You can hear him. Sound like cat. We need to introduce Peter to him. Yeah, we should go down and let him say hello.
Hey, Peter is jacked.
They're doing his squats.
He is jacked. That dog's got shoulders. I mean,
Kirby Smart's going to join us shortly. Talk about how the Dogs have worked on some things that plagued them against Ole Miss. We'll break down the bracket, try our best to clear up some of the confusion about how all of this is going to work and give you a little bit of projection. And Pat, $150,000.
yeah, this kid played high school soccer, very athletic, jumped over the fence here from Indiana, but a dog.
Oh.
I think there's a chance here.
He's got a shot.
It's going to be an expensive Saturday, I think.
Thought I heard Colts fan, too, back in the day.
We need one.
DoorDash counting us down to kickoff on ABC. Quinn Ewers and the Horns going into Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks. Remember, Razorbacks, they've already gotten one UT in the SEC this year. They gave Tennessee its only loss there. Sark's first season didn't necessarily go that well when he went to visit the Hogs, and they've got a rich history against each other. Texas and Arkansas, 1969. President Nixon was going to bring a presidential plaque to declare the winner of the 1-versus-2 game a champion. That's Bill Montgomery to Chuck Dicus.
This is wishbone era. The forward pass was like 6 times a game. So that's a big deal. They got a completion here.
Jim Bertelsen goes in. Tom Campbell, the son of the Longhorns defensive coordinator Mike Campbell, the game-sealing interception. Texas won despite 6 turnovers, got that plaque. Wow. 2000, the running game in the fourth quarter, the Cotton Bowl. Michael Jenkins running through the Horns. Pigs outscored them 17-0. Recognize him, Kurt?
That's Darren McFadden.
Cedric Cobbs.
Cedric Cobbs. Whoa, McFadden's 5.
Look. Boom.
Oh.
The right Radford. We're going to win this game. Horns down. And then I mentioned this. Sark's first year.
Raheem Moore.
Yep, Rocket Sanders. Good job. Good call. Yeah. Good call. Now with South Carolina. And then A.J. Green. You know, the Hogs ran for 333 yards that night. Beat them 40-21. They stormed the field. They're not really fond of the Longhorns. There should be some intensity when this game kicks off this afternoon.
Rivalries matter in college football, and this one runs deep.
We all know about the rivalry and what it means.
A lot of them, like the older guys, they hate Texas more than they love Arkansas.
Get the fans having the hate that they do.
On the road, at a place like that, loud crowd, packed house.
It's going to be a tough place to play.
Here's Green. He gets a block to the outside, and he will take it in.
That was absolutely filthy on this juke. You have to defend a lot of offense. His ability to make all the throws down the field, and then when you have a guy like him running it, it can be extremely challenging.
He's going down.
They ripped the football out. Texas has a takeaway.
Our defense continues to force turnovers.
The D line up front, they're really big. They're really simple, but they play hard.
I think we just know how to play together as a team. There's not many people who try to make plays that they're not supposed to make. Both teams kind of understand what the game is going to be when we go in there and we battle our hearts out.
Taking a look at today's Goodyear Road test, the Texas defense has been elite in limiting explosive plays, but perhaps because of some of the struggles the Arkansas defense has had, you overlook the fact that the picks can get you and get you quickly. Rushes of 10 yards, completions of 20 yards, those are explosive plays. Arkansas has been among the best teams in the country. Now, they have gotten blown out at home a couple of times by LSU and by Ole Miss, but they'll be ready for Texas.
Yeah, they definitely will. And we talked about this at the beginning of the show, and we used the Coach Lou Holtz one. You're really trying to win something or spoil something, especially for somebody that you hate. I learned yesterday that Arkansas's hatred for Texas is very real. I did some research on it. In the early 1990s, the athletic director for Arkansas, Mr. Broyles, he left the Southwest Conference because he thought that Texas had too much say. Now, he comes over to the SEC, been here for 32 years. Texas comes into their conference, and at the end of the season, where Texas is ranked 3rd, there would be nothing better for this Arkansas team and Coach Pittman than to smack the Longhorns in the mouth. Now, with that being said, running back Jaquindon Jackson is back for Arkansas. Taylon Green from Texas would love to have a massive game. It's almost setting up for Arkansas to be some spoilers here at home in a massive rivalry, Nick.
Well, I think the big thing is the defense. You know, Arkansas's defense have struggled. They give up so many explosive plays and so many points. And I think one of the underrated parts of Texas team is how good their defense really is. It's the #1 defense in the SEC. They get turnovers. They don't give up big plays. So I think those things are really hard to overcome.
I agree with Pat as far as the hate is concerned. They're going to have to match. Texas is going to have to match Arkansas's energy. But the video we saw, a common theme for Arkansas was the running game.
Yeah.
And Arkansas, now that Bobby Petrino is back as the OC, they're #4 in the conference in rushing offense, averaging over 190 yards per game. The other factor is time of possession. When you can run the ball, you can control the clock. I think that's going to be their recipe for success. If they're going to beat Texas today, first is going to be the attitude they come to the field with, just like the attitude Texas dealt with when Georgia came to Austin. That's what they're going to have to deal with, and then run the ball and control the clock.
Fayetteville, like anywhere else in the SEC, is such an advantage, especially at night. This one's an early kick, but they beat Tennessee. You know, they beat Tennessee at home. That's what they're capable of doing. But, Coach, I agree with you about the secondary. Sam Pittman came out and said it's basically, he's not telling you how many guys, it's open tryouts basically for the secondary this week, getting ready for Quinn Ewers, who's coming off a career game against Florida. So I think that's the biggest concern I have is I think Quinn Ewers and those receivers can have a monster day.
Two things that makes Texas special. Texas is the only team in the nation that's number in the top 10 in rushing offense, pass defense, pass offense. And they've won 9 straight road games, and they're tough to win a road. Now, Texas is my pick to win the national championship. That's my story, and that's what I'm sticking.
That's his own story.
Are you sticking to it if Arkansas gets him today?
Texas is winning the national championship.
That would be great for Coach Pittman, though. You think about that offseason.
Imagine.
Yeah, just everything going forward. I mean, knock off Tech, they hate them over
Pat,
that.
when you say like a rivalry game, like honestly, backyard brawl, the fact it's one thing to show Richard Nixon in 1969, but you show 2021.
Yeah.
When Arkansas went in there and just blew them up. And it was Sark. It was Sark's team. I think that gets their attention.
So Sark had 11 guys that are still on the team from that particular loss.
Yeah.
9 of them are starters.
I think it's more real.
Yeah, I think they understand that this is a real thing.
What do you got against Richard Nixon?
1969. Players today are like,
you know where Jaquindon Jackson started his college career, don't you?
Where's that?
Quarterback at the University of Texas.
Yes, sir.
Oh, little comeuppance, maybe.
There we go. Went to Utah. Now he's back there.
Yeah, we talked about the game in 1969. That was 1 versus 2. So it got us to thinking which teams have met the most often as AP top 2 teams. So 1 versus 2.
Florida State, Miami.
No.
No. Okay.
Texas, Oklahoma.
That's a good guess.
That was a good guess. That would have.
In the regular season or just in general?
USC, Notre Dame.
No.
USC and somebody.
No.
Alabama, LSU.
Bingo. We were there last week.
Okay.
Alabama. It's his fault.
Is Alabama,
LSU.
3 times.
Really?
Really? I thought it was Pitt, West Virginia.
That was the judgment day.
Hey, Ruiz,
I should have known that.
Never discuss politics and pass defense.
Especially with Arkansas.
That was good. After that question. What did you change? It used to be religion in there in the middle too.
Yeah.
You can talk about.
No
comment.
Oh, that's awesome.
Here's what we've got in store for you today. Great triple header coming up. It's football all day long, and it will start with that Texas-Arkansas game. 3 versus unranked. LSU and Florida in the middle, and then Tennessee and Georgia tonight. You know, it's not the only rivalry game in the state of Arkansas today. From Fayetteville, we'll go to the Battle of the Ravine. Ouachita Baptist against Henderson State. They are located 3,696 feet apart. You know, you golfers, the golf coaches have reached one stadium to the other. Driver, 3-iron. You can get from one stadium to the other. You just walk. Yeah, you just walk across the highway there in Arkadelphia, highway number 67, and you're right there. They'll do it.
Depend on who's hitting the driver in the 3-iron.
Well, yeah, it'd take me like 7 shots. But you also have the Monon Bell, Wabash, and DePaul. They played for that big locomotive bale for
Indiana football state.
And how about the Cortica Jug, Ithaca, and Portland? Now, They bought a milk jug for $2 back in the 50s. They put the scores of each game on them. They filled up, now 2 jugs are on the 3rd jug.
I heard Rossio used to fill it up with moonshine back when he was in Italy. Booze bag.
I wouldn't want to look in there and see what that might have been filled up with at that time. Cincinnati's taking on Iowa State tonight. The Cyclones have dropped their last 2. They've fallen out of the college football playoff rankings. But, man, they have a loyal following at Jack Trice Stadium. And as Jen Latta joins us, Jen, the connection between fans and team not always dependent on a record.
That's right, Reese. Maybe you saw this viral video a few weeks ago of a fan making his way through the Iowa State tailgate scene wearing a Star Wars Darth Vader costume. It was never meant to be anything more than a funny way to participate in the Iowa State blackout. But you know, Star Wars at its core, guys, it's a story about fathers and sons and legacies. And as it turns out, so is this story.
Troy DeJudy has been tailgating at Iowa State football games since he was a boy.
Oh, yeah. We need more stuff.
So naturally, he was eager to share his love of Cyclone football with his 3 children, beginning with his oldest son, Carson.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But it wasn't just football. They also bonded over their mutual affection for Star Wars.
The Jedi were the good guys. That was why he thought it was cool to be a Jedi.
He was my Jedi Knight, honestly. He had a heart of gold. He'd give you the shirt off his back.
Love you. Love you, Claire.
He believed in the Force in a way that only a 5-year-old can. Carson literally thought that the reason he couldn't make the lightsaber jump across the room into his hand is because he didn't believe enough.
In May of 2010, Heather DeJudy was driving their 3 children, Carson, Chase, and Claire, to Carson's karate class when a pickup truck hit their minivan.
3 cars all mangled after a messy accident, and from the looks of things, this minivan took the brunt of the damage.
My phone rang, and the woman says, "I'm the house nurse at Mercy, and we need you to come here immediately." And they took me in to see Carson, and they said, Carson has suffered a cervical dislocation, and you can't save Carson. I sat on a chair next to him, and I propped the phone up on a pillow in his lap, and I held his hand, and we watched Star Wars. Because if you're going to say goodbye, why not do it with what you both love?
As a result of their injuries, 5-month-old Claire and 5-year-old Carson both died. A few months later, still struggling with the enormous loss, Troy did something that would become a yearly Halloween tradition.
When Carson was younger, he was Anakin Skywalker. So I went out and I bought the Darth Vader costume. It started as just a way for me to connect with my son.
Last month, about 2 weeks before Halloween, Troy, now remarried, and his wife Michelle were headed to the Iowa State UCF game to cheer on the undefeated Cyclones.
The football team was wearing black uniforms. We were loading our truck. I said, maybe I should bring the Darth Vader costume. Maybe I'll throw it on. It'll be funny.
It was sitting out already for Halloween, and he thought, you know what, blackout game? We'll just grab it, and we'll see what comes of it.
A little before 3, I snuck away to the truck, and I put on the costume. We had a black Iowa State flag, and maybe I'd stand there while the team bus went by, and it would kind of be funny.
It caught on right away, and we didn't see him probably for 2 hours.
I don't know how many pictures I took, but had to have been in the hundreds. Carson would have loved this. He would have loved the attention, but more so he would have loved just sort of the sheer joy on people's faces.
That night on the field, with the Cyclones trailing late and their undefeated season in trouble, Troy says he found himself thinking of Carson and the power of belief.
Back will run it. A sneak touchdown! Rocco back took it in.
I like to think that maybe Carson was giving a little force push on the back end to push him across the goal line.
And Iowa State improves to 7-0 on the season.
The next day, the Iowa State Athletics social media team posted this 9-second video of Troy. It's been viewed by more than 3 million people.
It was shortly after that I had said, you know what? Like, people don't know the story behind it. Maybe they just need to know why you're doing it.
On October 21st, Troy published a series of posts on X explaining who he was and why Darth Vader was in Ames, Iowa that day.
Carson would have loved every minute of it. He would have loved this season. He would have loved this team. And when things looked down like they did Saturday night, he would have no doubt whispered, "Just believe," and given a little force push. Go Clones. Carson loved 3 things. He loved Iowa State, he loved Star Wars, and he loved Halloween. It's a perfect memorial for him because it just combined all those things that he loved most in the world.
In the Star Wars universe, Anakin Skywalker grows up to be Darth Vader. So in a way, Darth Vader represents Carson all grown up. And here on College Game Day, we want to make sure that Troy maintains that tradition as long as he can. And since we have those Disney connections, the folks at Disney are gifting Troy this deluxe, complete Star Wars costume so that he can use it for Halloween for years to come. And it also comes with this very cool Elite FX lightsaber. Can you show us how that saber works, Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Thank you, Troy, for sharing your story with us here on College Game Day.
That's for sure, Jim. Remarkable story. The connection between the fans, the teams, and families, that is really what sets this sport apart from just about any other. Still to come on College Game Day. Is it prime time in Colorado? They take on Utah, and the Buffs are ranked 17th. Inside track to the Big 12 championship game, and maybe a spot in the college football playoff. What? WWE superstar and Universal Champion Cody Rhodes is our celebrity guest picker. Wonder if he can convince Coach Corso to go with the dogs over the balls, and there he is. Touchdown! Kirby Smart will join us live coming up right after the break.
It isn't the holidays without a little magic. Inside, outside, and everywhere in between. Get everything to make your season jolly, delivered at the speed you need. The holidays have arrived at the Home Depot.
So what you're asking me is, how would I direct a Porsche ad? Okay. Everything you'd expect from Porsche, and a few things you'd never imagine.
Coach Gecko! Coach G! Laura, Dan! I didn't realize the media would be here.
No, this isn't for work. We're just really big fans.
And we're scouting for our fantasy insurance teams.
Geico has all the top prospects and 97% satisfaction rating. That's unreal.
Oh my gosh, it's true. True!
Smells like insurance. Suppose Geico does have devoted fans. It's not weird.
Jade, sign my arm.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
She only signs claims checks.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well. Some might say perfect. Who's ready to show 'em who's the cheesiest?
I woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach.
Cheez-It, official sponsor of the college football playoff.
The $7 Lux Cravings box has the Gordita Supreme? What is this, the 90s? This flashback is off the hook. The 90s Gordita Supreme is back in the $7 Lux Cravings box. Relive the decades, only at Taco Bell. Booyah.
Just for you, just for you, just for you. My love, just for you, just for you. Finally realize that it's just for you.
On a Longing, Fansville by Dr. Pepper.
Ramon, what are you doing here? Texting another conference now.
Yeah, but it's like on the other side of the country. It's really, really far.
But you're not even on our schedule this season.
Maybe we can meet you in the playoffs.
That's crazy talk.
You know what else is crazy? Getting all that Dr. Pepper flavor with 0 sugar.
But Dr. Pepper doesn't have a questionable secondary like Tech does.
Here, catch!
And that's why you're a mascot.
College football, it's a Pepper thing.
The time has come. Two larger-than-life legends collide.
John Jones is back, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Stipe is the most successful heavyweight of all time.
History will be made,
This is MMA at the highest level.
and the world will be watching. One fight for all time.
Oh, Madison Square, catch me at the fight.
College Game Day is brought to you by Geico. Check out College Game Day on social to get more fan cam action.
Watching the progress of painting the dog on the head. I thought we were going to do that to Stanford Steve or have something there. Did that not? Did that change? That show, man. That's a live look
That looked
right
good,
there.
Steve.
That's a damn good dog right there. We'll continue to update progress as conditions warrant. Oh, well, see, that's not nice. Take a little shot at Josh Heupel here. Oh, no. Oh, no. Peyton's on the board. Pretty clever. Oh, well, all right. That was an unfortunate in the aftermath of the Ole Miss game last week. Not wearing the orange, bringing the boom. With reference to Uga. His real name there as we get ready for Tennessee and Georgia tonight. You know, Tennessee doesn't hate Georgia nearly as bad as they hate Alabama and Florida, and Georgia doesn't have anywhere near the contempt for the Vols that they have for, say, Florida. It might be a condition that you see repeating itself there. Also, Auburn and even Georgia Tech. That's probably because of the history of this rivalry. They once went 30 years without playing, and in the 25 years before the SEC split into divisions, they only played 8 times. But as Ryan McGee tells us, they have more than made up for it since they became rivals.
Other rivalries have the cool nicknames. Deep South's oldest, and old-fashioned hate, and Third Saturday and whatnot. But any true old-school fan of either Tennessee or Georgia knows all about the bitter dog versus coon tick hound, fang-sharpening history of the black and red versus the orange and white. This is the game that introduced Herschel Walker to the world and to Bill Bates' face. Where we learned that 4th and 14 in the fourth quarter isn't all that far after all.
Schuler has time over the middle for the first down.
The game that taught us what a hobnail boot is.
We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose.
And then what a Dobbs nail boot is.
Don fires long to the end zone. The pass is going to be caught. Tennessee wins by Tennessee. Jawan Jennings.
A series built on winning streaks. The 90s were Big Orange. The last 2 decades have been largely hunkered down by those hairy dogs. Dooley versus Majors, Larry Munson and John Ward, dividing holiday tables at the border and turning Chattanooga into a DMZ. So many games, so many years, but none bigger than this game this year.
Ryan, thank you. The stakes are enormous, and Georgia would like to put another hobnail boot in their face and break their nose, and Kirby Smart has done that to a whole lot of people over the course of his career. Five-time national champion, 3 years an assistant with Nick Saban in Alabama, twice here in Georgia. A number of accolades and trophies in that beautiful new football building over there, and we are delighted to have the head coach of the Dogs join us here at the DoorDash dashboard, Kirby Smart. And, I think anytime, Pat, you think about Kirby Smart, even before the coaching, you think of some big moments,
Yeah,
right?
especially with Georgia, Tennessee happening. Roll the tape, please. Coach, how many times have we shown this this week with Peyton Manning at quarterback and you at...
Here it comes.
Here we go. Coach, how many times did you show this? Hey, this big forehead having some bitch is going to go on to be a GOAT. He's going to be a history maker. Number 16, what did he not know about? Oh, Kirby Smart. Get some. Score, Coach. All right, we're going to go out of bounds. First career interception against Peyton Manning. Obviously, you both go on to do great things. How often do you show that to the team and say, boys, this is the attention to detail we need. This is the lack of fear that we need to showcase. And this is the quickness and the agility that you need to have against a great Tennessee team.
I'm very proud I got a tip and an overthrow against the Hall of Famer. I just don't need him posting all the throws he made on me today. I don't need to see all that.
We don't need to see anything.
Only positive energy.
Yeah,
Only positive energy.
we focus on that one right there.
Yeah.
Kirby, tell us what the key to playing against this fastball spread offense with people all over the field. What is the key for you on defense?
The number one key for us is to get lined up, okay? You're going to see a situation here where they're spread out. They've got a guy standing up top on the sideline, down at the bottom on the sideline. They make you play basketball on grass. So the key is to get lined up. So right here, you can see as they get ready to pre-snap, we got a star sitting here inside, Tyke Smith, inside their slot receiver. They do a tremendous job of going with pace. They want to get things going with the first play of a series. You can see this play here. Play.
Yeah, we're hitting play, and it's not responding.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the thing about
we look like we're in slow motion right now. I wonder why we weren't moving around.
Here we go.
Great job here. They're getting the ball out quick. We got to defeat blocks on the perimeter here.
Wow, defeating the block out there.
You got to cover that. Now watch. Here's the key. You got to get lined up quick. These guys are back on the ball within 10 seconds faster than anybody in the country. They practice it year-round, so you got to be ready to go when they are.
A lot of teams seem to drop 8. You guys, in 3 years, you've given up 13 points against Josh Heupel's offense. They scored 38 against everybody else. You get aggressive. You tend to turn it up. What's the key to the success that you've had in those 3 years, besides getting lined up because they go so fast?
Well, that's the number one key. You got to get lined up and execute. We don't want to give anything. A lot of their plays are gifted because people aren't lined up. Okay, you make them earn it, and they do that. They do a great job in the run game. He's done a tremendous job this year with his back of pounding people, and taking shots.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get lined up. You got to out-execute, and you do need to stay aggressive.
Coach, I came over here this morning with Corso, and we were talking about this game. He said he thinks special teams is going to be a big part. What role do you think special teams is going to play in tonight's game?
Well, both defenses are really good defenses, especially theirs. They're playing at a high level. So that becomes field position.
Yeah.
Offenses like to get good field position to be aggressive. And, you set that up through your kicking game. Both teams have great kickers.
Yep.
And both teams have really good punters. So their guys, I've never seen it before. He can roll left and kick left. He can roll right and kick right. Wow. Very unique.
Yeah.
Freak athletes.
That's pretty freak athletes.
You know that? You know
right.
that.
Yeah. But one of the things that your defense always does a good job of is people think of secondary people as cover people.
Right.
But when you play this kind of offense, they got to play great block protection on the perimeter, and you got to tackle. And they can't catch and run with the ball, and I think that's what your team has done a great job of.
I appreciate it. That's what we preach. No run after catch on these guys. No free yards. They do catch them, but you got to get them on the ground when they catch them.
How do you juggle, how much you put in the box there? Obviously, because you're talking about the guy all the way up at the top. They're trying to spread you out, and then they pound the rock.
Right.
How do you juggle how many you have in the box, when you have in the box? Is it situational? How do you handle subbing? All of it. What is the kind of mentality as you take on this offense?
Well, I learned from a really smart guy.
What's his name?
I can't remember. But you try to do more with less. right? You try to do more with less. So you got to strike blockers. You got to play blocks inside. You can't exchange 1 for 1. If we ever exchange 1 for 1, then we lose that down. So we got to do a great job against the run with the box people we have there. And then everybody's got to close once they hand it.
For fans, just to simplify it, it's very unusual how spread out these receivers are.
Very unusual.
Like for fans, they just see offenses. Maybe they see spread. You're talking almost they might be a yard or two from the sideline, and over here they're a yard or two from the sideline. Just talk about what that does. It's stretching you out, and what that does to the box, the line of scrimmage, versus those vertical seams that they're trying to create.
It makes you declare yourself. You're either in the box or you're not. So they get really wide and say, are you out here covering or are you in here? And they get clearer pictures. They make it easier for the quarterback. We're either going to throw it or we're going to run it. And they're right a lot of the time, almost all the time. You have to out-execute. You have to get lined up and give nothing free.
The last time we saw you was at Texas, and you used this idea that nobody believed, and you used it brilliantly to get your team in the right psychological state against Texas. Loves it. Now, with the whole first team out thing, how have you used that with your guys this week?
Well, we didn't talk about it. We didn't have to talk about it. I think everybody understood when that came out Tuesday night. I think we came out and had a great practice Wednesday. We got to focus on that. We're not playing the college football playoff committee. That's not who we're playing against. We're playing against Tennessee. We got to focus on the task at hand. The rest of that will take care of itself. So we got an opportunity tonight to go out and play, and that's what we've been focused on.
What's it like coaching here where you played? What's it like?
Awesome. It's awesome. I mean, all these people, I went to school here.
I know.
Right? So you know a lot of them. It's great. It's cool. And tonight, our fans are going to be elite now. When we go at night, it's special around here. I think everybody's going to find that out. Everybody's seen it before. This guy's going to see it. He's going to see what we have to offer, and I think our fans will be up for that.
Boys, hunting tonight.
Coach, what's that coming down the track? What's that coming down the track? It's the lead machine in the red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. Hey. I'll tell you what, Kirby, I don't know who the drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan is, but I'm excited for these folks to have the first home game in 37 days.
37 days.
37 days.
Get loud. Get loud tonight.
I'm sure they will. Kirby, always great to see you. Good luck tonight. Thanks for being with us. Kirby Smart, the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs. But we want to balance some things out. And let me tell you who else is coming down that track. It's a big orange number 6. 20 touchdowns that Dylan Samson has scored for the Big Orange this season. 33 in his career, Marty Smith. And Kirby talked about it. They want to run the football with Dylan Samson.
Thank you, Reese. Good morning. What is the lasting power of presence, the enduring impact of intention? The moment you realize that using your own platform to empower others, in fact, helps you find your true purpose. For Tennessee running back Dylan Samson, that moment came in a faraway land in a chance meeting with an indomitable teenager.
Hey, yo, everything you work for, everything you strive for, it's for this game. Attack every detail, every rep, man. Strong runner by Dylan Samson. There's that speed. Make them tap out. Make them quit. To the end zone. Touchdown. Dylan Samson again.
Before Tennessee running back Dylan Samson burst into the national college football consciousness in the summer of 2024, the junior was among 34 student-athlete vol leaders who traveled to Botswana and South Africa to create positive social change through sport.
All right, have fun, have fun.
It kind of put it in perspective, even though a lot of the youth and a lot of the kids don't have probably as much resources as we do here in the United States, you know, they still have a sense of maturity, and just humbleness has just meant a lot to me.
It's beautiful just to see, I mean, the smiles he put on people's face. I mean, like, people he impact in life.
While in South Africa, the ball leaders were introduced to 13-year-old Simpiwe Dechaba. When he was 7 years old, Simpiwe contracted septicemia, a a life-threatening bacterial infection of his bloodstream. Complications led to both of his legs, his right arm, and several fingers on his left hand being amputated.
It's just something about his story. He never let it get to him. He always loved sports. He started running track. Just to see, somebody with that much vibrant energy and that much passion, considering the circumstances, just makes you appreciate everything you got going for you in life.
1, 2, 3, Tennessee!
So we got in the huddle, I was like, I'm gonna give him a toss.
When I say hut, go around me.
And he's gonna follow
around me. I'm gonna toss you the ball. 1, 2, Tennessee!
He learned quick. He's like a quick learner.
Let's go!
And he ain't look back. He ain't look back.
Spike the ball, go.
Hey, with the champ right here, with the champ.
Game-winning touchdown.
Tell the camera something. Tell them something positive.
Tell them what you did.
You don't want to know what I know?
He's fighting through adversity, his circumstances. He's not portraying any negative on anybody else just because of what he has to go through. I think just as much as he wants to succeed, he likes to see other people happy too.
1, 2, 3.
The relationship between these friends has evolved. On the same November day that Dylan scored his 19th touchdown to break the single-season Tennessee record, Simpiwe broke South African U17 Paralympic records in both the 100 meters and the 200 meters.
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
Hey, congratulations on your records.
Thank you. Congratulations too, bro.
Hey, I saw yours. I had to break mine too, man.
I still see it bright future in front of me.
Oh yeah, that's what I told everybody. Confidence. Yeah, confidence. You gotta do the celebration for him.
You don't want to know what I know.
You don't want to know what I know. Next game I score, I'm doing it. Oh yeah, keep working hard too. Go break some more records.
Thank you. You too.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you don't want to wait. You know what I know?
I often do think about that trip and him just remembering that light kind of in my soul and in my heart. He just has a genuine spirit, and I try to keep that with me.
About Simpiwe and his condition, Dylan told me, I don't think he can be offended. He doesn't know how. He said, yes, he knows his situation, but he also understands what he can do. And when someone has that level of self-confidence, it permeates everyone in his path and in his journey on every single day of his life. He is such a light. And that is Simpiwe. And Reese, do not be surprised if Dylan Samson reaches pay dirt tonight in Sanford Stadium if he doesn't do Simpiwe's touchdown celebration like this right here. You don't want to know what I know.
Marty, thank you very much. And Dylan Samson has been absolutely sensational. You know, he broke all of Eddie Lacy's high school records for Dutchtown.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Man. Great running back.
It's better if we look this way because the sun.
Here's the triple header. Texas and Arkansas. It's better to look that way. Look away from the sun. You only glance at the sun. You don't stare at it, Kirk. That could be a problem. LSU and Florida, Tennessee and Georgia also coming up tonight at noon on ABC. There is Sam Pittman. Arkansas has been explosive on offense. DoorDash counting us down to kickoff inside 90 minutes before they go at it against the third-ranked Razorbacks in Fayetteville. At noon on ESPN, immediately following College Game Day. For all the talk about Cade Klubnik, nobody's talking about the Shades. Also not talking about, he's third in the country with 24 touchdown passes. They'll take on Pitt without their starting quarterback, Eli Holstein. That man, Nate Yarnell, will make his fourth career start. That's coming up right after game day here. Still to come, the bracket for the college football playoffs. Is it confusing? Is it not? We'll break it down, show you how we're going to get to 12 at the end of the season. Why the position for some team might surprise you. Ducks and the Bucks both hit the road in the Big Ten. Is it inevitable those two will meet again In the Big Ten championship game, both has the road test. Ohio State's a little bit different because they are going to Wrigley Field. And this Thanksgiving, Moana and Maui back on a new epic adventure in Disney's Moana 2 in theaters everywhere, November 27th. Here is a special look.
If you can watch one movie this Thanksgiving,
We're back! Eat up. We don't want the pork getting cold. Ooh. Gotta stop doing that.
make sure it's
Moana.
Moana, you're more than a chief. You're a leader, connector of the entire sea. May the ancestors
Continue to guide us.
Disney invites you
Moana. If you try to reconnect the people of the ocean, you will be destroyed.
to the biggest movie event of the holiday season
This will be harder than anything we faced before.
that can only be seen in theaters.
This is serious.
Is something distracting you?
We're meant to be.
Disney's Moana 2, rated PG. Only in theaters November 27th.
Everyone knows good things come in threes, like our eat, drink, and play combo for just $19.99. Maybe the saying should be good things come in 19.99s. Maybe not. The Dave & Buster's eat, drink, and play combo for just $19.99.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months, and whose daughter is due any day. We're with Mike, who's leaving home to protect his family and yours. Thanks to generous supporters, we're with all service members and their families who need connection, comfort, and a home away from home. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
For the better part of a century, Harry and David has been making gourmet gifts that bring people together, to share traditions and make new memories, to bring us all closer, even when we're apart. No matter when and no matter where, life is a gift best shared. Harry and David, life is a gift. Share more.
Refresh your energy with zero sugar, essential vitamins, and proven ingredients. Celsius. Live fit.
Shop Amazon early holiday deals now. Now at Verizon, get iPhone 16 Pro and iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all three on us.
Nespresso.
My schedule's pretty jam-packed these days. I've got 2 free birthday parties on Saturday, and Sunday, that's my me time.
How's that look?
Works for me.
Works for me.
No more stress when shaving down there. No need for the extra prep. It's easy. Give your intimates unmatched protection with One Blade Intimate. Your skin will thank you.
The 12-team playoff, it's wide open.
It creates more hope for more teams.
The top 25 rankings reveal and 12-team CFP projection Tuesday on ESPN.
This is what they'll be playing for, the College Football Playoff National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. They'll hand it out on January 20th in Atlanta. Now, the most recent College Football Playoff rankings came out. And remember, there are 3 more before the final ones. This is how it looks based on the College Football Playoff Selection Committee rankings, how the bracket would look if you filled it in. And remember, there's a difference in rankings and seeding. Now, look, this is the bracket right now. But here's what I want to do to try to clear up some of this confusion with the numbers. Let's wipe the bracket clean and start from scratch and sort of show you how this is going to work. Now, the first thing you need to know, the quarterfinal round That's only the 4 highest ranked conference champions, which means the winner of the conference championship game. If you don't win your conference championship game, you cannot advance to the quarterfinals with a bye. So the highest ranked conference champion would be seeded number 1. Then the second highest ranked conference champion, regardless of where they're ranked, will be seeded number 2, and also the same for 3 and 4, the third highest ranked conference champion and the 4th highest ranked conference champion. Now, as you look at the college football playoff rankings over here and all of the teams that you're dealing with, you also have one more automatic bid to get in. So let's go down the rankings and find the next highest ranked conference champion. You see all of the Big Ten teams. You see a team from the Big 12, they're already in. You would get down to Boise State. Now, Boise State then would go in and get the placeholder as the 12th seed, even though they are ranked 13th. So here are the teams that would be in there at the moment. Oregon, we're not predicting that they're going to win it. They're the highest ranked Big Ten team. We're saying if they win the Big Ten championship, then you'd have Miami from the ACC, BYU from Big 12, Texas would be the 2 seed in the SEC.
I think that we came up with this idea just because I think a lot of people are confused.
Yeah.
And I think you did. We continue to try to do the best job we can in explaining this, but I think the rankings and the seedings create confusion.
Right.
These are placeholders. These are not predictions. Ohio State very easily could be right here if they beat Oregon, if they go to the Big Ten championship. This could be SMU. It's the conference champion. We just put these because they're the highest ranked teams.
Yeah.
So for now, that's where they are.
Now, see, and also the thing that creates a little confusion, the second team out, SMU, we're fully aware that even though the selection committee has Miami ranked ahead of them in the ACC standings, they lead because they were unbeaten. So I mentioned
so this is ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and the SEC. As we sit here right now, and we have Boise who will eventually get in.
Right, and Boise would be the champions of the Mountain West. This, again, just a placeholder to show you how it would look. And this would put Boise in the 12th seed because they're ranked 13th. Now, the one thing to point out and to remember, if Boise State were to be ranked higher by the selection committee than one of these other 4 champions, they would go here and the other champion would go there. So it doesn't mean the group of 5 champion is automatically the 12th.
Or if that 13 were a 7,
they're seeded 7.
They're a 7. Or if that 13 were a 19, they would still get in at 12 because they're the highest of the group of 5 conference champ. If they got upset tonight, lost a game, Army becomes a team maybe coming out of the American that could potentially, or Tulane.
Right.
Somebody from the smaller conferences has to be in here. More than likely, they'll be the 12th seed. And in this case, the 12 highest ranked team, Georgia, gets knocked out because you have to get the group of 5 champion in. So that's how we get that.
Let's fill out the rest of it and try to clear out why the numbers are a little bit different here, okay? So Ohio State is ranked number 2, but they're not a conference champion. They can't be.
These are all saved for the conference champs.
5, Ohio State goes there. Next, you have Penn State because Texas is already in as a conference champion.
Don't be confused by the 4. That's where they're ranked, but they're not a conference champion. They can't be one of the 4 teams.
Also means Ohio State, Penn State, home game, another Big Ten home game.
Another Big Ten team. And now we're just stacking ranking.
Right.
Once you get the conference champions, and you get Boise, now you just start stacking
based
in
on
order,
this.
5 and 6 and 7 and 8. You just start going down the line.
Tennessee would go in. They would have a home game against Notre Dame.
The tricky
8-9 matchup.
Reese, I think the tricky part is just clarifying for people. We have to declare the conference champions, the 4 highest, and then you have to declare who's going to be that group of 5 champion. And once you do that, then you just start stacking in order 5, 6, 7, all the way through. Hopefully that makes it it's confusing.
You and I talked about this on your show this week. I think the one tweak I would make, top 4 seeds, whoever you think are the 4 best, they get the bye.
Yeah, they're trying to put an emphasis on championships and conference championships, which is why Notre Dame's highest they could be because they're not in a conference could be 5, which is up there.
Yeah.
So here is the champions, basically the highest ranked. Now, we are just projecting them because the College Football Playoff Committee is forcing us to do that.
Yeah.
I think they should have to do that every single week. But nonetheless, champions are here, another champion's there, 5 through 8 with home games, and then we're off and running. That is basically college football playoff.
Imagine these games. That's a Boise in Columbus at the Shoe. That's Notre Dame at Neyland Stadium. Ole Miss, it's in State College, Alabama, and Bloomington. If it were like this.
So when you first did that tutorial before the season even began, it made perfect sense because you didn't have teams sliding. But now that you have teams, you have rankings,
seedings.
you have like records.
Yeah.
Now that's how it's getting more and more confused. I was like, oh, this is simple.
Yeah.
But now the way you guys just broke
Did
it
this
down,
help?
now
It's
starting to make much
and this
more
could
sense.
be, like I said, this
Exactly.
could be Ohio State, and then
Yeah.
Oregon would end up moving here. This is the conference.
You're trying to train people to think completely different because they see these two numbers.
Yeah.
But that's when they start to get confused.
Let's take another aspect of this, though, now, because when you're starting to take the teams out of the rankings and stack them, how are they stacked? And this is an issue that you have because you have a number of teams, none of whom have this number one strength of schedule, like Georgia, who's the first team out.
Think of where Georgia's played, Coach.
And I think the number one thing the committee has to do is take great appreciation for strength of schedule. Because in college football, if there's no merit to playing a difficult schedule, why would you ever play a difficult schedule? And how does that affect the fans and how many good games that we see? So you have Indiana right here who has beaten no top 25 team. Beaten no top 25 team. Texas has beaten no top 25 team. So that should mean something because Georgia has beaten 2. Alabama is 4-1 against top 25 teams, but yet how much is that being taken into consideration?
I agree with you 100%. You shouldn't just look at these numbers or these numbers. You should also look at who and where. It has to factor into the equation.
What time of the day? These think about what Georgia's had to do, where they've played on the road at night, hostile environment. So Georgia, it's in front of them. They'll more likely have a chance to work it out. Right. But Coach, I hear coaches, I hear athletic directors, a lot of guys talk about how I'm not going to future schedules. I'm not going to play anybody. What's the all they're looking at is the wins and losses. Why would I want to bring? We don't want that to be an answer.
Here.
Okay, good.
They're not going to like it because I agree with everything you're saying about Georgia. How you play counts too.
Yes.
You slip by Kentucky. You don't look great against Florida. You get your doors blown out for 2.5 quarters at Alabama. All of those things should count.
And we're focusing on Georgia, but I mean, this obviously applies to all these teams. And you pointed out teams that haven't played anybody.
Now, to be clear, not Indiana's fault that they didn't play anybody either. They thought they were crap, so they didn't give them a primetime schedule. So football judgment's a big deal with Indiana. How are they executing? How's Ohio State?
That's all fair.
Like that.
That's all fair.
I mean, that's real, and that's going to have to be the balance of the playoff committee there.
So Nick, what if you looked at that with the numbers that Indiana has? They played one team right now that currently has a winning record in Nebraska.
They better play well.
How big a deal is it that they play well in Columbus next week against Ohio State?
It's really simple to me. What if they did? What would happen? What if they didn't? What would happen? If they play Georgia's schedule, what would their record be? That's the question you have to ask. But if they don't play, you don't know. That's why it's important to have a difficult schedule, in my opinion.
But with all this in mind, with everything you're looking at, if they go to Columbus next week and they compete and lose, I think we all agree they're going to be in. If they lose 42-7, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
If they lose 42-7 and they're 11-1. What do you guys think will happen in Indiana?
I think they're in trouble.
I think they're in trouble.
The other issue that down the road everybody needs to look at is how do championship games affect this? You could be a 2-loss team, get in a championship game, still be one of the best teams that had the most wins against top teams, and get knocked out because of what you do in a championship game.
And other teams that get in,
or you could be Notre Dame, you don't have a championship.
Right.
Exactly. And the trade-off for that was that what Pat mentioned earlier, they can't be seeded higher than 5. They can't. They can't get into the quarterfinals in any way, shape, form, or
It's a wild year. It's a great year.
By the way,
Biggest and best year of all time.
I promised Nick I would ask Ward Manuel every week about the conference championship game.
But here is the good news about a 12-team playoff. We had years when we had a 2-team playoff where the third best team should have been in and didn't get in. We had years with a 4-team playoff where the 5th team didn't get in. We're going to get the best teams in the playoff because the best 5 or 6 teams will get in. Right. The controversy is going to come with the other guys.
Yeah. But I'm staying out of it this year.
I thought we were solving all the controversy.
I make it 14. 14.
We just go 16 everybody. That's what we did. One of the teams that you just saw with a 16% chance right now to make the playoff is Tulane. That man, Brian Newberry, will be leading his naval midshipmen against them. The Mids on Senior Day. They'll be honoring 23 who are playing their final game in Annapolis. And boy, Tulane has really come on after a little bit of a slow start, lost a couple of games to Power 4 teams. They will be in the American title game if they are able to win at Navy today. You know, Navy 19-1 in their last 20 senior days. HBCU slate the CIAA football championship. Virginia Union, Virginia State. They just played last week. They go at it again.
Yeah, Byers has 23 rushing touchdowns, and Mike Wright, the quarterback, has thrown 18 touchdown passes this season. But Romero Williams holding the ball with one hand. Coach Saban doesn't like that. But some of his top receivers are Tayshawn Porter, who's actually his favorite target, averaging 13 yards per catch, had 2 touchdowns a week ago.